I told y'all in the beginning that this was likely going to be a modern day David versus Goliath, and that's what it's turned out to be. I didn't realize that this corruption would grow to such a heinous and disgusting level where agencies are covering up, are hiding proof that would exonerate an innocent man that was framed. But it was part of their plan from the beginning. They just picked the wrong guy to pull it on. I'm formally announcing that I am filing a federal lawsuit in the Northern District against the Lafayette County Sheriff's Department. The sheriff, the deputies that were involved to include Deputy Jared Bundren, Deputy Scott Mills, Deputy Alan Wilburn, the corrupt actors, the ones that are going to end up taking the entire department down of good officers. I'll also be naming the mayor of Oxford, Ray Tannehill. Got a whole list. There's like 15 defendants. It's crazy. I mean, I've got a psychological evaluation that was conducted in September of 2017, 2 months after I pled out. I only did it because I was told that that was my only option if I wanted to get out and provide for my child. A psychiatrist or psychologist who states in his report that I pled out under coercion and stress. I'd love to see the state come against that. I am fully prepared to take it to the Mississippi Supreme Court. If the lower court does not look at the reasons stated in the post-conviction relief, the valid reasons stated, and vacate the plea in its entirety, because that's ultimately where it needs to be. The people that allowed this to happen need the direct chastising of a Supreme Court judge. And I'll finish it off with this. Trickle-down corruption. Sure, a lot of you have heard of trickle-down economics. Trickle-down corruption. It's an existential issue. An existential issue. Because with trickle-down corruption, the majority of good officers, see, everybody has somebody a step up. A ringleader, you could call it. That ultimately is pulling the puppet strings. This city, this county are being torn right down the middle in a moral dilemma because they're having to choose between upholding and defending the Constitution, abiding by the oath that they took, or adhering to the rules of their supervisors, of the Board of Aldermen, of the mayor, unconstitutional, lawless rules that are passed.
It's season 3 of Riding with the Outlaw.
Mr. Chain, so in light of the county prosecutor's office being informed multiple times of the other party wanting to drop the charge, and in light of the county having no evidence, in fact, exculpatory evidence of my innocence, it still chooses to pursue the charge of harassing phone calls. Well, that just about validates everything that I've said and lays claim to my claims of prosecutorial misconduct, malicious prosecution, and preferential prosecution, while validating the claims of this being a guilt-stricken witch hunt involving the county trying to use fear and intimidation tactics to cover its tracks. I personally am of the opinion that this move places the county in further violation of 42 U.S. Code 1985 in its tactics to further deprive the rights of the defendant by intentional interference into ongoing civil rights litigation, and shows a willful malice intent. The county and state is bringing these actions with the most unclean of hands, and I intend to prove it had knowledge of such, and its persistence further exacerbated injuries sustained. The DUI was staged by the county. Not only was no marijuana found, but I was never searched, nor was my car truly searched, and I have an eyewitness to that. I'm not a law enforcement officer, yet I know that if questioned on the procedure and protocol, 9 out of 10 law enforcement officers would likely note that this was out of protocol. There was, however, an insistence on non-permissive transport under false arrest due to being handcuffed and taken to the jail to take a field sobriety test which fell outside of Terry stop time stipulations. Not to mention anyone watching would see that no impairment existed and that the county actually chose to fault me for the struggle in supporting weight on a bad knee injured from a motorcycle wreck, which was shown and communicated up front on camera. No follow-up testing or confirmation was done to detect the presence of any substance. All of this but certainly makes this charge fall apart. The improper equipment was never notated and specified, which means the ticket in essence was written open-ended, giving the officer the ability to change his or her story up until the day of trial. If the charge is in regards to a headlight being out, well, it went out that evening due to the ice storm and icing. What type of money racket is Lafayette County running here to further financially penalize me for an act of God and nature, especially when this county is 100% responsible for disenfranchising me and my family to the fullest from its 2017 stunt? So that one most likely is gone. And finally, there's the disorderly and resisting arrest charge, where I parked next to the sheriff seeking out equal protections of the laws, which quite frankly were downright refused and neglected. I only went up there to seek out the sheriff of the county due to his checking my emails of grievances relayed regarding criminal behavior, which had been allowed to continue unchecked at the infliction of intentional damages on me. It was after normal business hours, and the signs indicated for Sheriff's Department, not for Sheriff's Deputy.
Hey, man. Hey, you gotta move that. I'll move when I talk to Joey. Joey knows I'm out here waiting. He needs to come out and talk to me. I'll move when I talk to Joey. When Joey wants to talk to me, I'll move. Otherwise, I'm not breaking any law just for parking in a spot that says reserved for the Sheriff's Department.
One more time.
I'm here at the Sheriff's Department.
Move, or you will go to jail for disorderly.
I'm not being disordered.
Okay.
I'm moving my car. I'm moving my car. I was moving my car. Ah! Really? Ah! I said I was moving my car. Oh! Stop! Ah!
Of course, I recorded everything until I was cuffed and I was able to switch off the recorder in order to ensure the evidence was retained. The audio recording shows both officers, Dixon and Howell, lied on their written statements, which demonstrate a conspiracy of 2 or more officers acting under color of law, conspiring to deprive another of their civil rights. Look up 42 U.S. Code 1985 and 42 U.S. Code 1983 because that 100% describes what had happened here. I never once said no.
Hey, you gotta move that. I'll move when I talk to Joey. Joey knows I'm out here waiting. He needs to come out and talk to me. I'll move when I talk to Joey. When Joey wants to talk to me, I'll move. Otherwise, I'm not breaking any law just for parking in a spot that says reserved for the Sheriff's Department.
One more time.
I'm here at the Sheriff's
Move.
Department.
Move, or you will go to jail for disorderly.
I'm not being disordered.
Okay.
I'm moving my car. I'm moving my car. I was moving my car. Ah! Really? Ah! I said I was moving my car. Oh! Stop! Ah!
Okay, right here, Ethan Tidwell walks to the side entrance of the Sheriff's Department. I get out of my car as soon as he gets out and heads that way. He never once looked at me, never said anything. Now, as soon as I get to the back of my car, Courtney Dixon comes out the side and he tells me that I need to move my car.
Joey knows I'm out here waiting. He needs to come out and talk to me.
I respond that I was here to speak to Joey
wants to talk to me, I'll move.
because Joey had
Otherwise, I'm not breaking
refused to
any law
answer
just
any of my
parking in a spot
emails
that says
regarding
reserved for the
providing
Sheriff's
equal
Department.
protections to
I'm
the
here
laws.
at the Sheriff's
Move.
Department.
Move, or you will go to jail for disorderly.
He tells me I have to leave
not
or I'm going to
being
jail for disorderly. I said I'm
moving
not
my car.
being disorderly.
I'm moving my car. I was moving my car. Ah! Really? Ah! I said I was moving my car. Oh!
Just like that.
Stop! Ah!
He's after me. Very rough arrest. 2 officers. And see, this right here, this is where they're directly feeding into the narrative that the mainstream media and the whole agenda right now is trying to project. And that's really what I'm trying to show. I'm not anti-police by any means. I'm just anti-corrupt police. The problem is corruption continues to spread. Something I call trickle-down corruption. So you have Ethan Tidwell that pulls up right there. He gets out, he goes in. Then I open my door, step out, go to the back. I never cut my audio once except for whenever I was tackled so I could preserve it.
Talk to me. I'll move when I talk to Joey.
He said, hey, you
When
gotta
Joey
move that
wants to
thing.
talk to me, I'll move. Otherwise, I'm
You
not
never
breaking
once
any
said
law
that I
just
could
for
speak
parking
to
in a spot
Joey.
that says reserved for the sheriff's department. I'm here at the sheriff's
I never once
department.
said no.
Or you will go to jail for disorderly.
I'm not being disorderly.
I simply
I'm moving my car. I'm
wanted
moving my car. I was
the
moving
equal
my car.
protections of the law guaranteed by the Mississippi Bill of Rights
I was moving my
and the
car.
federal
Oh,
Constitution.
ah.
Now, here's where some of the crazier things happen. If you look in real close, right to the right side of Courtney Dixon, he's the active one that's basically on my shoulder. Now, right there, the cell phone is thrown at the ground. Now, here comes Joey East. So I have a few things to say to Joey. I went up there to address Joey because he checked 3 of my emails and did not respond. I got the read receipt, and after I got the 3rd read receipt and no response, I said, it's time to go and talk to Joey in person. Now, right here, you look in close, so Omar Ahmed and Ethan Tidwell make an exchange. You know, it kind of looks like a cell phone. And I had 2 cell phones, so it makes me wonder, did Ethan have one? Did Omar have the other? Was something being done? And then were the cell phones swapped? Did he know the password? Was there something that he was looking for? Yet Lafayette County refuses to give up the camera angle that is closest to everything. And there's a reason for that. It's because that angle observed extreme misconduct. I mean, flagrant civil rights violations. Now watch right here. They had absolutely no business searching the car. I don't care what they say, they had no business searching the car. They knew that. And that's why you see Courtney Dixon looking back several times. See right there, I believe they opened the door, the passenger door right there, and this is where the illegal search begins. Now, let's count the officers. 1, 2, 3. There's 3 out there right now. In the middle of civil rights litigation. What I also think is extremely bizarre is when you look at the timestamp on everything. This all started before 5, just barely before 5. In fact, it's right around 5 or minutes after 5 when everything went down. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Look at this. Look at this. That is unbelievable. Uncalled for. Yeah, that just screams Fourth Amendment violations. But see, for Lafayette County, they don't care. Because it's a it's a never-ending continuance. It's a never-ending continuance because they were allowed to get away with it before. And it created precedents. In turn, created a monster that is continuously just getting larger and larger and just out of control. The Lafayette County Sheriff's Department has fully weaponized itself, stemming from some political excitement, we'll say. Right here, look at all of them. Last I knew, especially when it was parked in their parking lot, in less than 30 minutes time, I'm thrown on the ground by two officers. The sheriff comes out, another one comes out. There's a swap that happens. Okay. Even looks like there's Courtney Dixon that slams my phone down on the ground and it actually jumps. And you can see that when you slow down the video. And they never stop committing crimes. This is the same thing that's happened over the last 3.5 years. The same thing. They have steadily just fucked up and continuously tried to cover their tracks, but in the meanwhile, leaving a liability trail 3 times wider each time.
Hey, you gotta move that. I'll move when I talk to Joey. Joey knows I'm out here waiting. He needs to come out and talk to me. I'll move when I talk to Joey. When Joey wants to talk to me, I'll move. Otherwise, I'm not breaking any law just for parking in a spot that says reserved for the Sheriff's Department.
One more
I'm
time.
here at the Sheriff's Department.
Move, or you will go to jail for disorderly.
I'm not being disordered.
Okay.
I'm moving my car. I'm moving my car. I was moving my car. Ah! Really? Ah! I thought I was moving my car. Oh! Stop! Ah!
I never said no, and in fact, I was actually turning to get in my car to move it, like he said. When he said that I was under arrest. If you knew what all I had been through over the last 4 years, the false accusations, the presumption of guilt until proven innocent instead of the presumption of innocence until proven guilty. And that seems to be the same thing. Just about every court over here. You have to get up there and show that you didn't do it. Prove that you didn't do it. Instead of the accuser being a state agency, a county agency, having to prove their case against you. Now, I'm going to shut the fuck up during these parts right here, except for when I'm actually pointing something out, because I don't want to skip over this. So, watch Omar. He's right there, the big guy standing in the back. So he turns around, he goes back in, and at this point, Sheriff Joey East is walking out. I guess he goes to prep him. So they stand me up. You see devices all over the ground. However, they didn't get the recording gear, which was actually in my front pocket of my shirt. Had I not have turned that thing off when I was slammed on the ground, I probably would have had that thing going until they put me in the jail cell to get what Lafayette County does not want to release, what happened on the inside of the jail and the camera angle that was closest, that saw the passenger side of the car when there was 8 officers out there illegally searching it. Right here, watch this. Something clearly in Ethan Tidwell's hand. and he still draws his hand back with what looks like a phone. It is a phone. Now, the question is it his phone or is it a backup phone of mine? And I think that anytime something is that shady, that unclear, and that targeting, it certainly deserves to see every camera angle. And if they're not guilty, Omar Ahmed and Ethan Tidwell should be demanding for that video to get released to show that they weren't up to anything, any kind of nonsense.